Craveable Podcast, Episode 11, Trends in Food and Restaurants.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to the Craveable Podcast, where real matters. We are your hosts, Ben and Katie, and this show is brought to you by Fossil Farms. Today, you might notice we have a very special guest in the room. In fact, our first guest ever on the Craveable Podcast. Her name is Bianca Concepcion, and she is the executive chef of Fossil Farms. Now, Bianca has a plethora of knowledge and experience in the restaurant industry, food service from all aspects, retail, catering, you name it, she's done it. And she's going to talk to us today in our conversation about food trends and trends in the restaurant industry. Welcome, Bianca.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have a guest.
Welcome to the show, Bianca.
My first podcast that I've done ever. So
Yeah.
First of many.
First of many.
You're an easy
Question
guest
mark?
to have on. You work in the building. And we don't have to pay you extra.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. I mean, we also did our first podcast ever approximately 10 episodes ago. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's only uphill from here. So,
Yeah.
you know,
It's what we tell
Absolutely.
ourselves to get through the day.
It is
I
what
think
we tell
we're
ourselves.
pretty good at
I
this
think we're
thing.
getting better.
Yeah.
I think we're getting better.
I listen to it all the time, so.
There you
Yeah,
go.
Where do we begin? I mean, we were going to go over food trends and restaurant trends and get Bianca's reaction to it. I think it'll be semi-serious on some topics and then definitely pretty casual on a lot of them, just to kind of get your reaction as someone who's... Let's find the right word. We can't, but we'll just go right into it. And
Yeah.
we're going to start off by not mentioning some things that are probably pretty popular on the internet. We're not going to do pumpkin spice.
Oh,
It's
man.
fine. It's played out.
That's not a trend. That's been happening for like
Right,
ever
for a
since
long
fall
time.
was invented.
So I
Like,
think
that's not a trend.
That's a good place to start the conversation, right? Our food trends are sort of cyclical, and there's things that are popular now in restaurants, or especially on TikTok, that I don't come across because I don't have TikTok. I'm not on it often. But there's also
Loser.
people... Yeah.
I also
Nerd.
don't have TikTok.
I'm the only one that has TikTok?
No, TikTok is
Oh,
huge,
you're
man.
on TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok is major.
You're with it. You're hip and
I
with
guess
it.
I'm hip with it.
Hip with it. I like that. I like that. Do you want to start on your list, or should I start on mine?
I'll start on my list. So Ben and I were comparing lists, and he just started bashing like everything I was saying.
Correct.
I mean, that's what happens off air, guys. It's not uncommon. So, you know, I dug a little bit deeper into it, and I made up some new topics so that my co-host wouldn't think I was going off script, which I don't think I was anyway, but, you know.
No such thing. It's half your show.
Shots fired. So I am going to bring up something that I saw that I was very happy to see. Now, this was in an article talking about what to expect kind of in 2024 and what we're potentially moving towards. And that was, the title was Female Connoisseurs First. And basically what it was describing is that now more than ever and moving forward, there's a lot more women leading the industry, whether it's in restaurants, upscale or otherwise, making their way in, you know, cocktails, bartending, or winemaking, or, you know, blogs and things of that nature. There's a lot more women. And so it's predicting that, you know, in these facets of the industry, there are going to be a lot more female leaders, and they are going to focus more on the social and ecological issues, which I think is interesting because it inherently says that men just, you know, they are not with it. And I mean, that is true. Am I right?
Sheesh.
No, but it's true. And I thought that was a really cool, you know, idea and point.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely good to see that bit of transition, especially over the years for myself. I mean, I've been kind of doing this for about a decade or so, a little over a decade. So, I mean, a lot of leaders in the kitchen have been male. I haven't seen too many females, so it's kind of like, you know, it's good to be a part of that, for sure. And hopefully one day just be that role model for other women to, you know, be able to take on this role as a chef or a head baker, you know, so on and so forth.
Yeah, very well said. I remember there was a point in time when I was the only woman in the kitchen outside of pastry.
I know that. I know that feeling.
Rough.
And it's crazy because, like, I mean, for me, I did baking for like a short period of time, and it was primarily women
Mhm.
that did baking. And I didn't see too many guys doing it.
Which I hate
Often.
that. That's like totally gender roles.
Right,
know.
exactly.
Just gonna
Very-
throw it out there. There was literally one guy on the pastry team when where I was working, and it's like,
Yeah.
really, guys? Like, we're
I think also it's
still doing that?
being a female in that position, it's, it definitely poses its challenges for sure. Like, I've experienced my fair share of challenges. Big one is like respect in the kitchen. Sometimes you really don't get that from other line cooks or other people in general in the kitchen. I mean, it's tough. It's like almost as if you have to prove yourself and prove your worth, which I know my worth, but I don't feel like that's a need. If you're good at what you're good at, continue rocking with it.
100%. I definitely got a 100% serious go cry in the walk-in before. Didn't love it.
That's
Didn't
so
love it.
Yeah.
crazy to me.
Yeah.
I think that kind of bookends the trend that's coming up. I mean, you and I, Katie, personally work with a lot of women who own their own businesses, I
Mhm.
think.
Mhm.
And I work with a number of female chefs, and they definitely have not to say that there's like a chip on their shoulder, but they
No, I
know
get that.
that they have to put on an air of being a little bit tougher because they
Yeah.
get this
Yeah,
pushback
you
from
gotta
men
have
all the
that.
time. And I grew up with my mom and my two sisters. And for me, it's so crazy that people don't treat them just like everybody else, especially when it's in a professional environment. But because of that, we get to see this awesome trend where we have people who are running their own businesses, be it something like opening their own bakery, or we work with the Butcher Girls. I think they're based out of New York.
They're
They're
And then,
awesome.
yeah, they're great. There's a great company that I'm forgetting the name of out in, I think it's Ohio, where it's a female-led whole animal butcher shop. Super awesome to see them doing that and doing their own charcuterie.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of the coin, it's like, oh, is it special because they're doing it and they're women? It's like, no, they're doing the best level of this cooking or of running their own business, and they just happen to be women, and people latch onto that idea. Eventually, we'll hopefully get over this kind of like inherent, gender
Hopefully.
roles and misogyny.
Hopefully, but in the near future, I mean, I don't really see that changing too much. I'm hopeful, but just based off of like my own experience, definitely you have to have a tougher skin. It's, you build it over time.
Yeah.
It comes with you.
Calluses.
I will
Yeah,
say that when I was in the
exactly.
kitchen, my mom, we were having a conversation once, and I'm not supposed to curse on the podcast, so I won't curse on the podcast. She was like, Katie, you've kind of been like a B word lately. And I was like, yeah, that is factual. I am a meaner person now for sure.
I can't believe she said that to you last week.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's almost like you have to cut it off, like separate
Mhm.
your personalities from
Tough.
like work, and then to your like social family life too.
Yeah. For sure. So Ben, do you want to? You want to like do a little ping pong action here? You want to?
Yeah,
Wanna hit us with one?
I'll go casual and you go serious. This is
Classic
one that
podcast.
I know Bianca and I have talked about this in the kitchen and I wouldn't say it's like a fervent hatred for, but I am very sick of seeing burrata on everything right now. I want to get your take on that. I want to get your take both on your opinion of it overall and why people are doing it. Is it because it's prevalent? Is it like a great menu item?
I mean, it does make a solid menu item just to have. People are very familiar with it too. I feel like you could pair a lot of things with it as well.
Very versatile.
So I kind of say yay and nay to it. It's just like for me, if it's a good burrata and it's seasoned right and it's paired with the right items, sure, that's great. But that's not something, I guess. I mean, I've had my fair share of doing that in restaurants too, so I'm kind of guilty doing it. But I'm personally okay with it. I think it's alright of a trend to do.
Played out.
I love a good burrata.
Yeah.
I actually had brunch with a friend last week and the week before, and she was saying how she had gone to the place before, and she was like, I have to say, I got the burrata, and they cut it open before they gave it to me, and it was like ruined.
It's like the satisfaction of doing yourself.
Yeah, like what are you gonna do?
You need
What are you
that.
doing messing with my burrata like that?
Yeah.
I'm-
Don't touch it.
Don't touch.
Yeah, I love a good burrata.
Let
but
me pop the balloon.
but then again, very, very upsetting when the burrata is upsetting. It's
Yeah.
like, this is not the burrata of my dreams. And what business
Right,
do you
because
have
it's just-
serving this?
Let's not get me started on it, right? It's just a soft cheese, and it's the remnants of the mozzarella making process.
I
A
think
good
if-
mozzarella is better.
If you're pairing, like I said, pair it with the right items. If it's soft, pair something crunchy with it. throw that in there. You know, I mean, peaches, burrata,
Yeah,
a
that's
little bit
big
of
this time
like
of year.
aged balsamic or vincoto, like throw that on there. Boom. You
It's
know, I
like
mean,
beets and goat
it's kind of
cheese.
like, you know,
match,
just do your
match
thing.
made in heaven, baby.
Not
Yeah.
a fan of beets,
Love it.
personally. I
Love
hate
it.
beets.
Really?
The other thing that's kind of on everything is two other things, real quick. Mexican street corn, elote,
Ooh.
are things being like, oh, Mexican street corn style. And I'm just like,
Yeah, that's
personally
that's-
over it. And then also the fancy toasts, the avocado toasts. Always
Oh.
on sourdough. I think we
Yeah.
were riffing on this the other
yeah,
day,
we
too.
were. We were.
And I'm like, there's a billion other breads out there. I
Yeah.
get why they use it. That's structural integrity. But
It's
I
not
am
my personal
so
favorite.
over it. Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably opt for something else, but I'm like I said, I've also been guilty of that. We're doing that on a menu as well, just because it's, you know, a popular item. People
Yeah.
love that. You know, I think people are also becoming more health conscious of what they're eating, and they're like, okay, avocado toast, and I mean, I can't go wrong with that because I know I'm getting healthy fats, and you know, you can garnish it with pretty much anything, bagel spice, pickled red onions, poached egg, like.
And I really want to spend $18 on a piece of toast.
That's the other thing, yeah. Mushroom
Although-
toast is really
mushroom
big
toast,
with
actually, like,
with
that's
the soft
really
egg on top.
good.
It is
Oh.
really good. It is.
That's so good.
I don't know that I want mushrooms.
But you
in
put
or
that
around
on
my
pasta.
I
breakfast.
feel like a hard roasted mushroom. Really?
Yeah, I don't know if I want it in on
It's
or
like
around
one
my
of those
breakfast.
things, like, you know,
Oh,
you
it's so
put it,
good.
you could put it into an omelet.
Yes, that's true. I mean,
You
I love
know?
a good veggie forward breakfast, but mushrooms usually don't come to mind.
Hmm.
But in my humble opinion, I don't think fancy toast belongs in this episode because that's not a trend. That is some played out ish. You know what I mean?
That sounds like a played out trend then,
That's-
right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. That's been going on
I
forever.
nailed it.
It's been going on forever. It's not played out trends. All right, you're still hitting us.
No,
with
you
it?
go
All
hit
right,
us with one.
let's see. What do I got here?
Don't even
Uh,
ask, just go for it.
Ghost kitchens.
What about them?
I don't even know what they were pre-COVID, and then in
Yeah.
COVID, you know, we're talking to restaurants and businesses, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, you know, the kitchen's here." Da, da, da. And I'm like, "Well, I can't find anything on Google about you, or you know, I can find you on Google, but there's no address." And so I'm a little, and they're like, "Yeah, well, you know, it's Ghost Kitchen. We were here, and then we deliver." And I think it's very interesting because, I mean, I'm sure that existed pre-COVID, but with everything being delivered during COVID, it's like, and with restaurants, you know, many of them failing horribly or struggling to stay afloat, you know, these people who were once in full service restaurants are like, how do I make money? And then boom, Ghost Kitchen. You know, you have a space, you bring your staff there, you prepare your awesome food, and then you figure out a way to get it to its end user. And I don't know, I guess that's still a thing now.
Yeah, I think, you know, for making it accessible for other people, especially different types of cultural food, too, allows that kind of freedom, you know. But yeah, I didn't really get to know that until COVID times. I mean, personally, I don't think I've seen it pop up too many places anymore. Maybe on the West Coast.
Yeah, quick little blip.
Yeah, yeah. It's you know, I had a friend who had a type of, I guess, worked in a ghost kitchen, just to produce food. But I mean, now he's opening up a restaurant just based off of what he made during COVID. So, and started with actually ghost kitchen, then food truck, now opening up a restaurant. So he's
Love
just
that.
kind of like built that. So I think that also allows people to continue businesses and just build up your business as well.
Yeah, and I'm sure the the overhead and the rent and all that for a ghost kitchen is going to be way less than that of a restaurant.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. Space alone. So it can be, I didn't even think about it that way. It could be a great way for someone who's interested in opening their own business to kind of like get their foot in the door,
Right.
get some staff, get some key menu items, and get some feedback from customers as well.
And they have
Exactly.
to basically do that too because they're regulated. You can't just cook food in your kitchen at home and sell it.
Yeah.
So they get that licensing that the restaurant
Exactly.
has. And in a way, it's like a share with the restaurant. Like, let me use your space. We'll pay you for it. Then we can get our feet off the ground. Maybe do some collaborations later. But I don't think a ghost kitchen term was a thing until
No.
COVID. I knew
I
people who were starting small businesses.
I mean, people do pop-ups and stuff and,
Yeah.
and utilize kitchens there, but I mean, ghost kitchens I didn't really come across until, or hearing about it until COVID.
I don't know if anyone heard me gasp. I don't know if the listeners heard me gasp. But Ben and you kind of as well touched on another one of my topics, which is collaborating brands and host kitchens. So, like one group or restaurant will do an event in another group or restaurant space. And it can be great for many reasons, but I would imagine number one, if, the cooking group doesn't necessarily have a space or the right space for that event, you have like marketing overlap, and the host kitchen or space actually, I'm pretty sure standard gets a portion of the profits, and they'll be busier than they would on any whatever normal Tuesday, let's say. I think that's really cool. I've been to a couple of things like that, and at first I was confused. I'm like, wait, but this is the so-and-so dinner. Why is it at so-and-so? I don't understand. But it's very cool, and it's fun. It's like a pop-up style thing, and I think I've seen, maybe I was just blind to it or naive of that concept, but I feel like I've seen that a lot more recently.
For sure. That's definitely popping up. I wonder if that's kind of like the natural progression of the ghost kitchen to the pop-ups. So someone's like, let's do a collaboration. I don't have the scalability to actually do this because we're a small venue and you have a full restaurant, and then doing that brand recognition definitely helps. What's your take on pop-ups now?
I love pop-ups. I love being able to go into other people's kitchens too. And, one that we did not that long ago
this a lot. I forgot.
Was with Viaggio's, and we kind of collaborated on a menu. We execute our courses, they execute their courses, talk about our dishes, could talk about who we are, what the inspiration behind those dishes were. And but yeah, I've done my fair share of pop-ups. I kind of like experienced my first pop-up, which was when I was working in the Village, right on 12th and Greenwich Ave. It was called the Wallflower, and we had someone who specialized in like Hungarian style food.
Ooh.
And so he developed his own menu, but he just needed us to just prepare the food. It wasn't even like, let's collaborate together. He just needed to use the space to have his event, essentially, and then use the staff too to help out.
Service and kitchen?
Service, yeah, exactly. So, that was my first experience with the pop-up. I think they're great. It gets the exposure out there for other chefs, other restaurants too. But yeah, I think that would be I'm for it.
I'm definitely
for the pop-ups, especially collaborative.
Yeah, get some creative menus out there and actually try something different, especially for restaurants that say they're seasonal, and then it's like, well, fall, winter, summer, and spring are technically the seasons, but my farmer's market's changing over way more than that, and you change your menu every 8 months, so are you seasonal?
That's tough.
So the pop-ups are great to just try something different. Katie and I went to a pop-up with the store manager, Liz.
Was that the one that Tom came to?
Yeah.
It was
like a pasta pop-up. That was fun.
Got crazy. They got
slammed, and they were not prepared for it.
Was this,
I don't know.
I don't remember the place.
Should we call it out?
It was Blue Steel Pizza Co. They did a pop-up. It was good.
Oh.
The food was really good. The service was a bit lacking, but when you're trying to put out that many plates that you just developed like 5 days ago, I imagine it's a bit challenging. Your kitchen staff's like, what are we doing?
Was it all just like one flat seating and then everything came out at once?
No.
It was,
it
was a menu that you ordered from, but they recommended a ton of dishes, which was ended up being right because they were quite small. But, I forget, they recommend, 10 to whatever, we're like, well, I got that. Feels like a lot. And so then, everything was small, like very small tasting size. And they kind of just explained that they just bring it out as it's ready. And everything went, first of all, everything was really good, and everything went really smooth until, I don't know, I guess there were different seating times, but there must have just been a point when
they're just getting
the forces converged and everyone needed something. And you know what happened? Because they posted about it after. I think they lost power in the kitchen.
Whoa.
Something majorly wrong happened that completely screwed the kitchen up.
Yeah, slowed it down. Then they kept putting out plates, and they kept coming up to us, and we were like, "No, we already had this one."
Yeah, it wasn't.
And they're like, "Oh,
it wasn't lack of preparedness." I remember because we were like, "Whoa, what happened?" And the next day they posted, and they're like, "Remember when this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this?" And it was like something like you lose power, like generator won't go on. Service staff fires 42 risottos, whatever, and so. It was hectic, but them trying to catch up was putting out a ton of dishes, and we were like, we already had that corn thing 2 times, but if you're
Yeah,
offering.
we can't. I'm not paying you for all of these. But I guess that's the challenge of a pop-up, right? It's like you don't know what you're running into, and you don't have time to figure out the kinks. Yeah,
expect
you're like,
the
we're here for
unexpected.
2 days, so wish
Yeah.
us luck. But it was really good.
That's-
Shout out to Blue Steel Pizza Company and 7 Doors Down Ramen in Bloomfield, New Jersey. You guys rock.
Yep, we love them. All right, Ben, I think it's your turn.
It's my turn. I know we talked about this one as well. It's maybe I should have came up with a new list. But how do you feel about schmear boards?
Schmear
Oh, I just learned that
say
existed.
no more, right?
Nay.
Or a butterboard.
I
some
was just
people
going to
know
say,
it as.
I think schmearboards is inaccurate because schmear is technically cream cheese. Am I right?
Yeah.
They do those too.
Well, I didn't know this existed until 30 minutes ago when Ben told me. And I
Me
was,
and
like,
Bianca
schmear
can
board?
talk about
I was like, that's not a thing. But when I Googled it, butterboards was the top.
It's like one of those things from, especially a TikTok trend. You see it everywhere. It's just as butterboards. Like, why?
that.
So why don't you-
That's
Now,
like I don't
I
get
had no
that.
idea what that was. So, Bianca, why don't you describe to our audience what the heck a butterboard is?
Butter us up.
Buttering up. All right, so it's just pretty much taking tempered butter and then smearing it onto or spreading it onto a wooden board or any platter of whatever type, and then garnishing it with different toppings, whatever you like, whether it's scallions or just flaky sea salt, and then pair it up with like vegetables and bread, and then call it a day.
A little crudité. Yeah,
Yeah.
like instead of just doing a dip in a bowl,
Yeah.
you're essentially like swiping across this whole
In
board.
butter? I don't want butter on my carrots. That's
I
I feel like
don't
there was
either, but
man,
people
I wish
do
I
that.
could remember who it
Or
was.
Toast Point, something like
Like
that.
a Michelin star restaurant doing that with radishes, like dipping radishes into butter and gets
Okay.
cold,
I guess that's acceptable.
kind of like that. But yeah, I think it might be just overrated, to be honest. That's just my personal opinion.
No, and that's what we're here for, is your personal opinion.
Yeah.
It's like the natural progression of the cheese board and charcuterie board. They're
Yeah,
like, well, we
exactly.
need something new to put on it.
Something new and trending.
And for some reason, people want to eat off of the cutting board like that. You know?
I think
Don't know what's satisfying
they
about it.
said people finally realized how much we're overcharging for avocado toast. Let's do it, but with butter.
On wood.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, man.
I think that's a ludicrous concept. I didn't know it existed. I don't support it.
None of us
Yeah,
support
I don't
it.
think I would ever
I'm not here for it.
support it. I don't have. Just give me a cheese and charcuterie board.
And they
That's
probably
perfectly fine.
upcharge. You're getting charged
Yeah.
a leg for them to spread butter out on a board. I'm like, just do it on my toast already. Do it on
Yes,
my
please.
avocado toast already. Let's get this over with. I mean, they upcharge for a lot of trends
Yeah.
these days, like bone
Absolutely.
broth. Oh, I just paid $10 for an 8-ounce
It's
cup
stock.
of broth. Yeah.
You can go and make that at home.
No, they put salt in it, so it's now broth.
Oh man.
It's now fully seasoned broth from stock.
No.
In case you didn't know the difference, it's literally just that.
Yikes.
What about with her being a baker? And you bake in your free time. Katie's Cookies, in case you didn't know. Or Cookies by Katie. I messed that up the other time, too.
Sheesh.
Whatever.
Get it right.
No cross-branding here. Get over it. Let's talk about the cronut and the cruffin
Okay, I'm
and the
guilty.
pretzel.
I'm guilty. Okay, because I did have a cronut the other day from Glaze Donuts, so I'm guilty of that.
How was it?
It was really good.
Yeah, it is really good.
It's really good.
They're great. I don't know if we need different shapes for every single baked good under the sun. But
No, I mean, in New York City, Supermoon Bakery does cruffins, which is filled like croissant muffins.
right, which is really just a queen amant, if we think about
Yeah,
it.
essentially, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So I'm
But-
like, learn to make the traditional pastry the right way and stop
I think when
gussying it up.
when that first came out,
This is another
Oh,
Play-Doh
man.
trend by Ben Lehar. Just going to throw that out there. Cronut's been around for a very long time.
the cronut and with the cruffin, that I didn't really see until I think it was like 2016 or something, and someone bought like a bunch of them for a special event that they had, and I saw all these like Supermoon boxes. Ooh,
She hit the mic. We're okay. Keep it going.
I got really excited for this. These mirrored looking boxes, and then I was like, what's in that? And then they opened it up, and I was like, what is this creation? This is awesome. So for a while I was like, okay, this is awesome, and now it's like, all right, you could do every flavor in the book. It's croissant
Yeah.
flavored.
The square croissant and the circle croissant. The wheel.
The wheel.
Le wheel, so to speak. I'm over those two. Only because I am a stickler, as we've talked about a million times with French pastries in general. I'm a sucker for those.
Oh,
And if it doesn't taste good to begin with, and you just change the shape. Like, I'm not here out posting on Instagram
No,
about that.
now I'm like,
I want it to taste
I just
good.
want
please.
like just give me the classics.
It was $12. Please taste good.
Yeah, especially like we always talk about it, Baltazar's Bakery.
The
It's
kings
so good.
and queens.
Gotta shout out Chocolatine in Denville, New Jersey.
Yep.
Absolutely amazing.
And unironically, also who I'm eyeing on this topic,
Ben
that
wants
they
their
do the
square
square.
croissant. He wants it. Don't lie.
Yeah,
The
I would
square.
eat it.
Yeah,
And they're pretty
delicious.
good. But at the same time, I'm like, you're a classically trained French pastry chef.
Yeah.
Then
I would
people
just
want,
make a good cannelé and Queen Amman.
People want.
Yeah,
you.
And then we
I-
can work from there.
My wife is a baker. She's been a baker for a long
Oh, right,
time.
duh.
So she's had her fair share of experience with like making laminated dough. She's always like, it always has to have the honeycomb in the center of
You're
the
making
croissant.
What did you say?
The honeycomb. It's like when you
The
open it
lattice
up
work.
and then like you just see
no,
the
something
work
before
like
that. I didn't hear what you said. But that's fine.
Laminating.
laminated.
Oh, laminating.
Yeah, laminating
yeah.
doughs. So she's like, yeah, she's had her fair share of experience. So like, she'll give me her like best opinion on that. It's a great opinion too. But yeah, so it's like I'm always like mindful of like which pastries to go with because I'm always thinking in the back of my head, like, what would my wife say about this?
Would she approve?
Will she approve of this?
Am I allowed to bring these home?
Yeah, exactly. But with Baltazar's, it's always a good thing.
Yeah, that's my go-to too. Especially if it's with that location that they have in Englewood. Don't have to go to the city for Balthazar's anymore. Shout
My
out to
hometown.
Balthazar's, Englewood, New Jersey.
Yeah.
This might just be called the shout out episode.
There's a lot of great stuff in New Jersey.
I know,
There's an
there's some
amazing
amazing
amount of
amount.
things.
Yeah.
And I think that's also why it was hard for me and Katie to come up with the list of trends when we were looking at it. Because there is so much stuff that's TikTok oriented. There is so much stuff that's home chef oriented, restaurant oriented, and then more job specific, like food industry oriented. Like when we look, like we were talking about sustainable packaging, you know what I mean? And how important that should be in restaurants as well. But really, these companies are doing it for the consumer facing part of their business because consumers want to be ecologically conscious and not being wasteful or anything like that. But I mean, would you change your opinion on what you brought into your kitchen if it had sustainable packaging versus not? If it was more expensive?
I think that, obviously it does contribute to the environment itself, and I'm very considerate of that as well. And I think that we do a fair share of that here in Fossil. That's kind of what we stand for as well.
Right.
So I follow it, even if it's a little bit pricier. That's okay. It's what matters outside of here as well too. So and what we're putting out there as well. So we need to be able to back that up.
Yeah. Gotta talk the talk and walk the walk.
Exactly.
I think kind of like almost in contrast to what you said. You said businesses just do it because consumers want to see it, but those business owners are also consumers. Like if you can be someone who's very environmentally conscious and also own a business. So yes, that is something that's pretty popular in the public sphere, but I don't really think that the only reason a business will do it is just to get that wink and nod from the consumer.
Depends on the business.
No, it definitely does,
yeah.
but I wouldn't say, that's the only reason they do it. Consumers will choose you over someone else because they know you're environmentally friendly.
It definitely is a big marketing point. I don't think anybody's going to try and charge more money if they weren't conscious of it. But again, to your point, it's all encompassing.
Yeah. So I want to talk about an ingredient that I don't think Ben had heard of it either. You probably have. So they're saying this is a rising star. It actually was called the new kale. Kale flopped. So it's called moringa.
Moringa? And
it is apparently it's a plant extract that comes from the horseradish tree. I don't believe it tastes anything at all like horseradish. I don't know. Never had it. Didn't know it existed. But it's got way more protein than matcha. So they compare it to matcha. It's got like tons of vitamins, super high in antioxidants, like ton of health benefits. So they're saying this is going to become the new like turmeric latte type thing.
Oh, no.
And then it's going to the picture, it looked like just a green powder. Like it looked like matcha,
like
but
chlorophyll.
they're saying, yeah, I should have looked up what it tastes like though, because I didn't. And if it's just horseradish, like that has no place being near my coffee.
Some new green drink You know what I mean?
Green things are healthy for you.
Yeah.
Is that
that's
true?
kind of like,
Yes.
I mean,
true.
you mentioned, matcha.
Slime?
Not all green things.
Nickelodeon
You
slime.
had
Oh my God.
you had mentioned the matcha. I mean, if
Yes.
that's trending, that's, just as much as matcha will has been
Mhm.
before. I mean, matcha's been in everything at this point. Desserts, boba tea,
Love
just
boba.
just like any beverage, I mean, this is the first time I'm actually hearing it, to be honest. I don't think
Moringa.
that's,
Moringa.
Moringa.
M-O-R.
You heard it here first, folks.
I-N-G-A. Yes, hopefully this is your first time hearing of it, and we're all learning together as a family.
Yes.
What's that effect when you learn of something new and then you see it everywhere? I forget the term for that. But
Don't
that's
let
going to
me see
happen
it
with the
as well.
moringa. Anybody listen to this? Moringa. Get ready for it. It's coming for you.
Do I get another one?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so apparently Gen Z, crazy kids, are swapping out coffee for energy drinks, which for me, when I read that, I was just thought ooh, college, flashback.
Yeah.
But I totally believe that because I feel like I have been seeing so many new brands of
Yeah.
energy drink
for
and
sure.
also drinks that existed and now they have a version that's plus energy boost. There's
Right.
some type of V8 canned drink that it's not just straight V8 juice. I forget what it is. And now
V8 and caffeine, probably.
no. I mean, it's not just straight vegetable juice. This beverage as it is like
Ginseng or something that's in there.
it's just it's a carbonated lighter.
Yeah.
It's not a thick vegetable
the
juice.
faux sodas are very
I'm
popular right now.
I feel like I'm a classic person. I just go for coffee as my caffeine fix. I mean, I college, like you said,
Yeah,
so
many
fair
monsters.
share of Monsters and Red Bulls, but no, coffee is for me the way to go. I don't these low calorie and then energy boosts. It's just not for me.
Yeah,
That's
unlike
just my
caffeine's
preference.
calorie free energy boost.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unless you add
Unless you
product
take it
into
light and
it.
sweet.
Yeah, then
Just like
that's
you
a
guys.
difference. Sheesh.
But what I wanted to say too is at the gym down the street, they brought in this new thing that I had never seen before, and it's this energy drink, and
What's it called?
I'm getting there.
Oh, sorry.
And it has been super popular. I keep seeing kids grab it, and it is mostly kids.
No, it's not
the.
Oh no! Tell us.
No, it's not what I was drinking the other day that
Okay,
you
good.
gave me. You know what
A
about?
hard time.
And that wasn't the energy drink. That was the hydration one anyway. So we're gonna drop it, okay? So it's called Ghost, and you know about this? And
I used to buy their protein powder.
so that existed, or
Yeah.
protein. So I went to one of the trainers at the gym, and I was like, "Hey, I know you just brought these in. These are super popular. Everyone wants them." And he was like, and I was like, "Oh," and also that's kind of a crazy name, Ghost. And I was like, "You know why?" And I turned around the label, and they're like, Ghost, because the label is transparent. And I was like, that's funny. And he was like, no, because they think that's what the kids will like a cool name.
Yeah.
And the packaging on the can is funky and super bright, and there's relief on it. The Ghost, is it's just in relief. It stands out against the can. So I thought that was
and
cool.
also their flavor profiles too, because they do I think a Swedish fish flavor and
So it's not too sweet. It's only Swedish.
sour patch. I think it's sour patch. I don't know, but they do various flavors and various
I saw
protein flavors
I think
too
it was
that kind of trap people into getting it.
It's Red Starburst flavor or
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah. So it really just keeps them attracted to it, and it's okay, cool. I can drink this and get some sort of relief after my workout or do pre-workout and do that.
But I thought that was interesting because when I saw that, I immediately thought of that. I was like, oh, I keep seeing all these new things at the gym, and when the high school kids are there, they're just going to the cooler, and they're getting all those things. I'm like, yeah, Celsius is super popular now.
Oh yeah,
super big. So yeah, energy drinks. Coffee's probably better for you.
Probably.
Yeah,
maybe.
I would prefer coffee.
I can't imagine Gen Z's moving away from coffee for any moral reason. They're like, fair trade's just too expensive. I guess I'll go with energy drinks. I guess I'll just pick
Maybe
up
as they get older.
Logan Paul's Prime, because he's a good moral litmus for the next generation, but that's its own conversation. I don't do energy drinks. Maybe a Red Bull vodka 10 years ago. Again, also like you guys in college.
Yeah.
And then there was the Four Loko craze, but we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But there's nothing healthy about these energy drinks. Not that drinking as much coffee as everybody in this office does is healthy either,
Yeah.
but I think I watched you walk by me with a giant pot of coffee, and I was like, oh my god, it's like 3 p.m. What are you doing? And you're like, I'm making tiramisu. It's totally fine.
But if you want some,
Yeah.
got plenty of it.
We have 2 or 3 Nespresso machines in the building.
2.
Only the 2
Yeah.
Nespresso
And a
machines.
Keurig.
Yeah, the
And a
kitchen.
Keurig.
The kitchen has their own espresso. Thanks, Ben. I appreciate you.
The Nespresso's rule. That's a big trend. That's super popular now. I think that's an exceptional cup of coffee.
Yeah.
For the most part.
It
I
is.
don't have one or use one.
I feel like you're just saying that because everyone in this
No, I
company
think it's
loves
legit.
Nespresso.
It's legit. It's
Some
so
of them though,
fast.
so like some of the flavors though are just not the greatest. Like some of the like flavored coffees, I'm not a huge fan of.
That's a
but,
trend
like,
we're talking about. Flavored
yeah.
coffee. I don't get it.
I think I love flavored coffee.
I'm
I
okay
love
with
flavored
certain
coffee.
ones. Yeah.
I think some of them just don't taste like what
Don't
they.
attack me. I'm just kidding.
I think some of them just don't taste like what they're supposed to taste like. But I just learned that I wrote down enough topics to cover 3 half-hour episodes. Ben, do you have another one you'd like to bring up?
I don't think I have anything on this list worth going over. Actually, you can jump onto one. I was going to say things like the sushi taco or sushi burrito, where I'm
Disgusting.
just like,
Mm-mm.
I don't.
Disgusting.
It's not the method for that. And
Why?
well, I was going to say, it kind of segues into like this whole like big Asian fusion
Mm.
fad that exists today,
Mhm.
where people are like, let me take 2 ingredients that I've heard of from probably Southeast Asia and put them into my Americanized version of a French dish and be like, check it out, I invented something new.
yeah.
I think that's a little bit two-faced.
No, but that's totally. I mean, Southeast Asian food in general and influence is huge. Like, you know, Singaporean, Philippine, Vietnamese, that's huge. But I just can't possibly let this episode go without me saying, what human being needs to eat a single piece of sushi that is this big? I think
She's holding her hands up.
I
It's like
think-
a baseball.
I think that it's it's vile. It's like a softball. Why do you want that? I can't.
What kind of piece of sushi are we talking about? Is this the
Sushi
burrito?
The
burritos.
burrito, yeah.
Oh
which
yeah, the burritos. I
I've
don't
never
understand.
seen that.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are
No.
you doing?
The
No.
tacos, I can see some play if they're like the one-bite ones, like Lama-san in the city
Mhm.
does some exceptional looking
Yeah.
dishes. I've not had the ability to try them yet. The ability, what does that even mean? But I'm probably not going to go and do it. Like everything that feels like a gimmick to me tends to be a gimmick. Like you can say it's a better carrier and it's like something different, but at the same time, I'm like, you don't need to fly in the face of tradition. And I'm normally a pretty non-traditional opinionated person, but some things you don't really,
I feel like
to
it's,
gild
Yeah.
the lily,
I
right?
feel like it's like I can't use chopsticks, so I decided to put my sushi in a taco form. No,
Only hands.
not here for it. I do want to talk about something, and it is pickles. Great one to end on here.
Pickles.
But fermented foods,
Mhm.
probiotics, beverages, fermented foods in general, condiments, a lot of Korean condiments becoming popular,
Yeah.
fermented kimchi, all that, and just pickles in general.
Mhm.
I heard they're out here putting pickles on pizza. And honestly, I've been trying that.
I would
Yeah,
try
I'm
that.
actually
Yeah, I would
I'm
do
there
that.
for that. I mean,
I
I
love
love
pickles.
pickles. I love anything pickle. It's really
Sour,
good.
Yeah,
It's so
funky, fermented.
yes.
Yeah.
Fair share.
Pickles are
Kimchi.
good. My boyfriend and I get a gallon at the farmer's market.
I know that one.
Of just pickle juice.
Weirdo.
You said it.
Pickles and juice.
When Derek was working in the kitchen, he had his I think it was a book by Renee Redzepi, where it just focused on a lot of like fermented product, and he started his own little like fermentation lab.
Oh,
Science
he's
lab.
that guy, yeah.
Science
Yeah.
lab.
Renee Redzepi, obviously being one of the world's most famous chefs, ran Noma until that closed last year. Unironically, right when that movie The Menu was coming out. That's an episode in itself.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
do not sign up for that.
I'll do it.
Yeah, pickles are great. They're out here putting on everything. And like I said, we wrote down enough for 17 episodes. So unfortunately, that's all I got time for today. But
She'll be back.
Aw.
I
I'll
want
be
to
back,
thank
guys.
you, Chef Bianca.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure
For your
talking to you
time.
guys.
This has been lovely. It's so great to have
Yes.
someone else to talk to besides Ben.
Yep.
I'll be back
Just kidding.
eventually.
Thank you all for tuning in. Be sure to like, subscribe, do all that stuff that you can do on those awesome platforms. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.
3, 2, 1, yeah!